If someone like you, with just a high school diploma, went there, it's bound to be a nuisance to our clients. I'll go instead. Hand it over. Despite having gradually gained the trust of those around me and established a solid position since joining the company, it seems my efforts can be so easily taken away. Bill snatched the document I had created and left. Given our respective positions, I couldn't oppose Bill. I was frustrated, but at the same time, I felt like letting go and thought, just let him be. And so, Bill, having taken my document, headed to the negotiation venue with great enthusiasm. But there, he was faced with an utterly shocking scene. My name is Michael. I'm just an ordinary office worker. Though it may sound self-serving, I believe I am dedicated to my work. Despite facing daily challenges, I find joy in my work and continue to do my best. Hey, Michael, you again. Look at this. The one who approached me while I was engrossed in my computer at my desk was Bill, my direct supervisor. Bill was the kind of man who always seemed to have complaints about me. And it was the same this time. Bill, did I do something wrong? When I received the document from Bill, I noticed areas marked for correction in red. What's this? This is the document you said you'd fix, right? It's not fixed. No, that's not. This document is... Upon checking the contents, I realized it was indeed the document I had corrected the day before. The areas marked for correction were exactly the same as those Bill had brought, and I had indeed corrected them, saved, and printed them out to submit to Bill the previous day. You think excuses are going to work? No, but... Fix it and resubmit it immediately. Useless. Bill didn't listen to a word I said and left these harsh words before returning to his desk. I immediately checked the data I had saved the day before. Since the saved data was on my computer, when I checked the corrected areas, they were indeed corrected properly. I let out a small sigh and decided to reprint the document. Michael, you got it again, huh? Yeah, did you hear that? With Bill raising his voice like that, who wouldn't? It was the one you corrected yesterday, right? Yeah. Most likely, Bill had lost the document I submitted. He probably found it too embarrassing to admit he lost it, so he pretended I hadn't made the corrections and got angry under that pretense. Unlike Bill, the other employees didn't look down on me or treat me poorly. In fact, everyone else was quite kind. It seemed like Bill was the only one who despised me. When I went to submit the reprinted document, Bill barely glanced through it before silently placing it on his desk without much inspection. You're always slow with your work. I told you to get this document done by yesterday, didn't I? Yes. In my mind, I retorted, I did finish it yesterday. Since you're just a high school graduate, all you need to do is obediently follow orders. Got it? I'm sorry. Yes, I was a high school graduate. Bill, on the other hand, was the opposite. He was born into an elite family. He had a very impressive educational background. Perhaps that's why he seemed to take pleasure in looking down on others, as if it was ingrained in him. Despite being capable, Bill's cunning nature meant he often delegated tasks to me that he should have been doing himself. For example, hey, Michael. Yes. This is the client list. Handing me just a single sheet of A4 paper and seeing my confusion, Bill, frustrated by my perceived slowness, began to shout loudly. Don't you get what this is for? Yes. Call each one on this list and set up appointments for this and next week. But wouldn't it be smoother if you did it, Bill? Don't talk back to me. You're just a high school graduate. And so it went, with him pushing everything onto me even though he could have done it in less time himself. As a result, whenever I couldn't do well, I was told, It's your fault that our client is upset. I felt like wanting to say, I'm not your puppet. It seemed Bill didn't think highly of me being a high school graduate. I grew up in a single-parent family. Ever since I was young, my mother juggled household chores, parenting, and work. Feeling sorry and guilty for all she had to endure, I constantly thought about how I could ease her burden going forward. My mother worked in a restaurant, where the staff sometimes looked after me. I would stop by the restaurant for dinner after school, often eating at a table in the corner while she worked. Looking back, I think her workplace was very understanding towards both a mother raising a child and me. Hey, Michael, you are here today too. Oh, Max, how are you? It was during one of my regular dinner visits. Max, a regular customer, greeted me as usual. Having been coming to this restaurant since I was very young, Max and I had become close enough to talk about various things. How's it going lately? Enjoying high school? Yes, I can't thank my mom enough for letting me go to high school. Your mom is a hard worker, after all. I watched my mother bustling around the hall. I wanted to make things easier for her. What can I do? Max. What's up? I want to do something for my mom as a way to give back. What do you mean? I'm grateful for her raising me on her own, and I just wish I could do something for her. Michael, you've turned out to be such a good son. No, not really. Let me think. Max was someone who would seriously consider my concerns. He never belittled my worries as just high schooler problems, but would think through them with me as if they were his own. Max and I shared a similar background as well. He too was raised in a single-parent family. That's why I could talk to Max about my mom and things that were difficult to discuss with her. Being able to work hard for someone else is a strength of yours, Michael. Being from a single-parent family might seem like a disadvantage compared to others, but I see it as an opportunity. You should just do what you want to do. What I want to do? Do you have any specific goals? Well, I've always had a vague idea that I want to support my mom, feeling sorry for all she's had to endure. I guess figuring out how to turn that into something concrete will be important moving forward. That's true. Well, I started working after high school too, and now I'm doing well in my job. Life has a way of working out. Max always had positive advice for me. As my high school graduation approached, I found myself consulting Max more frequently. After many conversations with him, I decided to enter the workforce after graduation, inspired by Max. Seeing Max thrive despite being a high school graduate made me feel that with hard work, I too could achieve a solid position. I was reminiscing about the past. Since joining this company, I've worked hard without forgetting my motivation to support my mom. Michael, could you handle this for me? I believe you're the only one I can ask. Yes, I'll do it. As I became more accustomed to the work, my efficiency improved, and I started to gain the trust of my colleagues. Supervisors other than Bill trusted me and assigned various tasks to me. Although Bill also assigned me work, it felt more like he was dumping tasks he found bothersome on me, so I couldn't bring myself to like him. But that feeling was probably mutual. It was around the time I was getting the hang of my job. Michael. When Director Chris called me into the meeting room, he was sitting there with a broad smile on his face. At first, I was worried I might have done something wrong, but that didn't seem to be the case, and I felt relieved. Chris, what did you want to talk about? Oh, there's a negotiation I'd like you to handle. A negotiation? Yes, for this company. I was surprised when I saw the name of the negotiation partner Chris showed me. It was with a well-known major corporation. I believe you can handle it without any problem. What do you think? At that moment, I remembered what was said during the orientation when I joined a company. During the orientation, there was a detailed discussion about career advancement. It was explained that negotiations with major companies are reserved for those with a certain level of experience, and that my department is expected to work hard towards this goal. Now, here it was, a reality in front of me, and I was so surprised that I froze for a moment. Michael, please let me do it. Definitely. When I promptly responded to Chris, he laughed and patted my shoulder. I'm counting on you. Thank you. I felt a warm sensation in my chest, thinking that my daily efforts were finally being recognized. I must make this negotiation a success. Although I felt the pressure, the excitement outweighed it. Success in this negotiation could lead to even more career opportunities. I saw it as an opportunity. From the day Chris assigned me the task, I devoted myself to preparing the materials for the negotiation. I was approached by my senior, Alex. Hey, Michael, you're really fired up. Alex, I've been assigned a significant negotiation and I'm doing my best right now. Michael, you're such a hard worker, so impressive. If there's anything I can do to help, just let me know, okay? Really, that would be great. Everyone in our department knows how hard you've been working. Thank you so much. I took Alex up on his offer and received various advice and stories about past negotiations with large corporations and creating documents. Alex went so far as to work overtime night after night to help me. Finally, a few days before the negotiation, the document I had poured my soul into was completed. All right, now for the big day. I'll definitely make it a success. Thinking a dry run of the presentation wasn't enough, I was practicing in the conference room when Bill suddenly entered. Oh, working hard, I see. Bill. I had a bad feeling, but I tried to give him a polite smile, hoping it was nothing. Bill picked up the document from the table, flipped through it briefly, then closed it with a thud. He then looked up at me. The document looks fine, but you're the one negotiating with that company, right? Do you seriously think you're up for it? Being a high school graduate. I might not be there yet, but I want to complete the task I've been given. It seems like you don't understand what I'm getting at. A high school graduate like you will negotiate. It's bound to be a nuisance to our clients. Why can't you see that? You're as incompetent as ever. That's not true. I'll take over from here. Make sure to inform the client. What? Bill pulled a USB from the PC I was using and, taking the printed documents with him, left the conference room. This is too much. Why do Bill always have to do things that feel like harassment towards me? It felt like all my efforts have been completely invalidated. But regardless of how much I disliked Bill, his position in the company was absolute. I couldn't go against him. I contacted the client's representative that same day. I apologize for the inconvenience. There has been a change in the person in charge for that day. Isn't it you? No, due to various circumstances, I won't be able to attend. Is there some reason you can share? No. We were hoping to work with you within any possible scope. My supervisor reprimanded me, saying that a high school graduate shouldn't attend this negotiation. I see. So no attendance for high school graduates, understood. No. It was difficult to say such things to the client, but feeling weak, I ended up blurting it out. After exchanging a few words with the representative, I ended the call. On the day of the negotiation, Bill, carrying the documents I had prepared, headed to the venue with high spirits. Why isn't anyone showing up? The negotiation was scheduled for 11 a.m. However, when Bill arrived at the venue, he was the only one there, and no one else showed up. About 30 minutes passed, and Bill, unable to contain himself any longer, began to grow increasingly agitated. When he inquired at the receptionist responded with a firm attitude. "Hey, why isn't anyone showing up?" "You're Bill, correct? I apologize for the inconvenience. Let me check on that immediately." Even as the receptionist was checking, Bill made no effort to hide his irritation. "Bill, we apologize, but everyone scheduled for today's meeting is already in attendance." "What?" "The first meeting room is reserved for today's attendee, which is listed as only you." "What do you mean?" When the receptionist showed Bill the attendance list, only his name was on it. "We were informed that only you would be attending today." What are you talking about? It's a business negotiation. It can't proceed without the other party." "But we were informed that this arrangement was decided by you." "What?" "You mentioned that high school graduates couldn't participate in the negotiation, didn't you, Bill, when you spoke to Michael?" "What?" Without paying any heed to a flustered Bill, the receptionist continued. "Therefore, we have marked that all high school graduates who were scheduled to participate in today's negotiation as absent, as per your request." "That's impossible." Bill, pale as a ghost, staggered out of the room. At the same time, I was in a different location, conducting negotiations with a client. "Michael, your presentation was very clear and well received." "Thank you. We're really glad we entrusted this to you." "I'm grateful for your kind words. Thank you." "Thank you for today." "My pleasure. I had a wonderful time. See you later." "See you." I had successfully completed the negotiation and secured a contract. Upon returning to the company, the first thing I heard was Bill's furious shouting. "Michael, how dare you?" Bill, red-faced with rage, stomped towards me. "Bill, how are you? Don't play dumb. It's your fault for making a fool of me." "No, but I..." "Don't overstep your bounds. You're just a high school graduate." As I was being overwhelmed by Bill's intense anger, President Brown and President Smith, with whom I had just concluded the negotiation, entered. Mr. Smith." "Hello, Michael." Mr. Smith smiled warmly at me when our eyes met. On the day I had contacted them, an employee who heard my story had reported it directly to President Brown. Thanks to that, Mr. Smith had arranged for an alternative route for the business, making this negotiation passable. "Michael, you've done well." "Oh, thank you so much." While Mr. Smith praised me, Mr. Brown, standing next to him, frowned deeply at Bill. "What's going on?" "Bill, I've heard the whole story." We don't need employees who belittle others based on their educational background and spout abuse." Mr. Brown. Without softening his stern demeanor, Mr. Brown delivered the verdict of dismissal to Bill right then and there. "Please reconsider, Mr. Brown. Having someone like you around only deteriorates the workplace atmosphere. Understand that." "How can this be?" Bill was visibly shaken and collapsed to the ground. In the days that followed, Bill was dismissed and vanished from the company. Although Bill seemed to have an impeccable career, his derogatory remarks towards high school graduates during the negotiation with a major corporation had spread both internally and externally, tarnishing his reputation. Struggling to find a new job, it seemed Bill was now at a loss. As for me, the successful negotiation led to a promotion. I've never felt more motivated and fulfilled in my work. "Mom, I got a promotion." "Oh, Michael, that's wonderful." My mother was overjoyed when I shared the news of my promotion. I planned to take her to a fine dining restaurant to express my gratitude for everything. The words of Mr. Smith, "A pinch can be turned into a chance," resonated with me. Holding those words close to my heart, I was determined to continue growing, step by step,